Right, well, I'm David May. Been in a few bands in my time. First band we formed was Ken Dallas and the Silhouettes around about 1957, 58. Then that progressed to Mark Peters and the Silhouettes. We toured extensively. Back Still a Black. Did a few records. We were on the Major Beat LP, the volume number 1, with Someday When I'm Gone From You. If you can get hold of that, you might have a listen to it. Carried on playing. Eventually this Mark Peters left and I joined another band, a trio of my own, resident at the Sands Club in Ainsdale for quite a while. Then joined Rolling Stone and the Hurricanes for a few months, and then 1969 I joined a cabaret act called the Madisons, and I was with them for 38 years. Retired 10 years ago when I was 65. So now you know how old I am. And retired and didn't play for 3 years. And then an old friend called Ricky Gleason, real name Derek Banks, collared me and asked me to fit in with him on an open mic night. We started playing. We became Ricky Gleason and the Silhouettes again because I revitalised the name. Eventually left him and just gigged around, just jammed around with our guys, and now I formed the Silhouettes again because Ricky Gleason's had to retire from the game because of heart attack. And his lead guitarist, Alan Robson, has joined me. I've got Pete Madison, who was in the Madisons with me for 38 years. And we've got Phil Mitchell, who was the drummer at the Southport Dixieland. He's resident drummer, so he's backed all kinds of people, everybody, so his experience is fantastic. But to go back to the 50s, I was at the College of Art, Liverpool, in the same class as John Lennon, Stuart Sutcliffe. We all studied art together. And John Lennon came to me one day and said, they're forming a band called the Silver Beatles, and they're having a rehearsal in the Life Room. So I said, all right, I'll come up. He said, well, we're looking for a bass player, because we're going to Germany and we don't have a bass player to play with us. So I said, okay. So I went up to the Life Room. They were practicing, but to be honest, for me, they were awful, because at the time, we were into the Shadows and Buddy Holly, and we were playing that kind of stuff, but they were really heavily into rhythm and blues. John Lee Hooker and that kind of idiom, which was alien to me. Don't get me wrong, I love it now, and I play it now, and I love it now, but at that time, when I was in my 20s, it wasn't for me. So I turned down and said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in joining the band. Plus, I didn't want to go to Germany for God knows how long. So at the time, I was trying to make my own bass. So he said, well, the alternative we've got is Stuart Sutcliffe. He'll play bass. But he can't play bass. He doesn't know how to play bass. I said, oh, well, I'll tell you what then. What bass guitar have you got? He said, well, the Students' Union have bought us a Hofner President bass guitar. I said, right. Well, what I want to do is make my own bass, and if I can come and measure that bass, I will teach him 3 songs and also a boogie on bass. So we went to Gambia Terrace, where one of them was living, a flat there. I took my paper and pen, measured the bass fret by fret, body-wise, the neck length, headstock length, everything. Measured the whole lot, and then I got down and I taught him, come on everybody, Eddie Cochran, Summertime Blues, and a 12-bar blues boogie in E. And they were made up, and he managed to get it, he got it. And anyway, they said, well, we're going to Germany next week, and off he went. And I thought, well, best of luck, you know, God knows what they'll be like. Anyway, about 6-7 months later, we were playing at a club down in Bootle, and who was on the bill but the Beatles? They've returned from their tour to Germany, and they're on the same bill as us, so I thought, oh, this will be interesting. And they went on stage, and I knew right away they were going to make it, because they were just phenomenal. But the hairs on the back of my neck stand up now because I can remember it. Stuart Sutcliffe on the bass, he always wore sunglasses, and he was on the bass, and he was up and down that fretboard like I don't know what. He'd really picked it up, and I knew they were going to just be something, because no one could stand still. It was a rock and roll band then, purely rock and roll, doing cover songs. But what a band. And McCartney's voice. McCartney's playing rhythm guitar and piano. You had Stuart Sutcliffe on the bass, George Harrison on the lead, John Lennon on rhythm guitar, and of course Pete Best on the drums. Anyway, they did a tour here, and then they went back to Germany. But when I thought, and eventually I went to Germany to the Star Club Hamburg, and I realised why they got so good, because you do like 10 hours a night, night after night, night after night. So if you don't get good after that, something's wrong with you. Anyway, they went back to Germany, then they came back. Love Me Do was in the charts in Liverpool. Then they had Please Please Me, all kind, and well, everyone knows the story after that. People ask me if I regret joining them, and I don't, because I've had a good life. I've been in good bands. I'm in a good band now, and I can walk around the street without getting mobbed. And I always remember watching the Beatles after they did America. They were on the TV, and the interviewer said, "What do you think of America?" Of course, John Lennon said, "Oh, how do you get to America?" He said, "Oh, we turn left at Canada." So he came out with that gag. And they said, what do you think of the sights? Did you get to Memphis? He said, "No. All we did was sat in a dressing room or a hotel room all the time they were there. They couldn't go out because they would have just been ripped to pieces." And in a way, I thought, well, yeah, that wouldn't have done for me. I've had a good life, and I've enjoyed myself, and I'm alive. Two of the Beatles aren't. They're gone, which is a shame. People always say about the money, but then again, money doesn't buy you health. So I'm happy, very content, got a great band now, good guys, and we're still gigging around, just around in Liverpool, enjoying ourselves. So that's about it, really.